What's up, Zoxaskun? So update 1.0.5 was just recently updated, and I know you guys noticed because you probably went in your inbox and seen all those crystals in there like it was Christmas morning, you know? But nonetheless, outside of the gacha changes, there are actually some other massive things that they implemented in this update that is going to drastically change your experience in the game in a good way. Now, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Obviously, with the 1.0.5 update, the first thing they had to list here was like, hey guys, we changed the gacha, right? So with that, we obviously can see the appearance rates before and after. Just fixating on the after, we now have it at a 2% overall for our 3 stars, with us having the advantage with it being a 75-25, so 1.5% for pickup, 0.5% for non-pickup. It's a 2%, for the 2 stars, it is going to be 8% now. And that means that with the 2-star pickups, it's going to be 6% going for the pickup and 2% going for a non-pickup. And then, of course, overall, the 1-star pool has been reduced by that 4%, making it a flat 90%. All right. So basically, they returned all Enigma entities and synchro metals consumed for synchro. So that was even more than I thought they were going to do. So they gave us back everything, including the synchro metals. I thought they might have, I thought they would have like maybe held on to that, but no, they said, hey, here it is, you got it. And I'm like, okay, cool, we're cooking. So we have a ton of currency. This actually should put people even closer to their guaranteed ticket on the standard banner. And then after that, you're probably just gonna dust your hands off with it and only ever use synchro metals on it. You'll probably never ever use crystals on that banner ever again, right? So with that being the case, they basically have decided to also give us additional places for synchro metals. And for those of us that have already completed, they gave that retroactively, right? And so that's just kind of like the TDLR on what exactly changed, why everybody's so excited. I've seen a lot of people giving, and asking that specific question on what is this refund, that's essentially what it was for, right? Now, on top of that, one of the big things that they actually are deciding to change within the game is they have adjusted character actions or made some adjustments to character action. So they basically have changed or made some changes to allow the following characters to execute counterattacks when performing secondary attacks to cancel them out. Yo, Gio, Mew, Koshi, Sinju, Roku, Inoki, Q, and Santoro. They basically have made it to where it is much easier for them to be able to execute a counterattack during their secondary attack string. Now, what's really important to note about this is that it's actually making it much easier for you to basically recover or to basically counter, right? So that's really, really important. Now, they also have made changes that have allowed following characters to execute evasions when performing secondary attacks to cancel them out. And you'll have Yo here and Miyu. So my Miyu is eating right now. Miyu gameplay about to be kind of nasty. Now, the other thing that they also have changed here is that the stamina consumption of deflect counterattacks for the following characters have been reduced by half. So Yo, Gio, Miyu, Koshi, Senju, Roku, Inoki, Kazuki, and as well as Santoro are all included in this. Now, why is this so important? Okay, well, let me actually show you guys something in game real quick so you guys can kind of get somewhat of an idea as to what I'm talking about. Now, I'll probably throw this up on, somewhere up here so you guys can see, but I did cross-reference my previous video just so that I could see the change because I forgot what the actual amount was, but I was actually able to, remember that the stamina consumption for this specific skill on my Mew was quite a bit. And so originally, the stamina consumption for my counterattack originally, for example, was actually 625. It is now 250. Okay, so this is actually making it to where I don't necessarily have to invest in like stamina, for example. Like that was something I was thinking of. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to invest in stamina because there's just no way I'm gonna be able to get those counterattacks off and then still have stamina. And 625 is a lot. So they actually reduced this to 250 stamina consumption versus the 625. And you still get the same break value if you successfully counterattack. So this is huge because this means you have more opportunities to counterattack. Some people are probably running into issues like on, for example, Brave Diver, where you were actually running out of stamina in between the chains of counterattacks, which is kind of not fair because you're perfectly hitting the counterattacks. It's not your fault at that point. I can see if you weren't hitting them, then yeah, that's on you. But if you're hitting them, like myself, for example, then you shouldn't be being penalized for that. So it looks like that was also a thing that directly ends up affecting that, so we can get through a whole chain. And then that's also going to make it much easier to actually break those enemies, because you're going to be able to now successfully hit all the counters with it not being a stamina issue, which is really, really huge. All right. Now you're going to have to individually check every single character that was mentioned on the list. But I will say there's obviously some significant changes made, because if it's more than half, which again, that's definitely more than half, that is definitely going to be a huge boon to how your character is able to operate. All right. So with that, of course, moving along, we also have some adjustments to Zero Sensei in the support contract missions. So they basically have made it to where Zero Sensei in the support contract missions regarding the defeat red limit series in the Fractal Vice 1 times have been adjusted as the following. So support contract is going to be open 60 chests in the Fractal Vice. So instead, what they're actually doing is they're pushing you to actually explore, right? So they're not making it a, hey, complete or clear the whole thing. They're saying, hey, we're not going to change the difficulty of the boss, but what we are going to do is we're going to actually make it to where now you can obtain your level 50 by basically exploring the Fractal Vice, right? And that's for the support contract. For the Zero Sensei, you have to just win 15 battles in the Fractal Vice, which is just fighting any of the enemies in there, and that's going to inherently happen when you're exploring the Fractal Vice. Now, is this technically a nerf? In the sense, for those of us that went and, cleared it, I mean, we had to kind of clear it anyway. I don't think that it's necessarily a nerf, because even if you have level 50 characters, it doesn't mean you're going to necessarily beat the Fractal Vice. I mean, I have level 50 characters, and I could argue if I make too many mistakes, I will get killed, right? And so that's something that I think, like, in a way, it was kind of like a way to kind of balance it to where players can still respectively get to that level 50, but it's not nerfing the content to where people basically don't get that experience of having the quote unquote in-game content, which I can at least say that's okay. And I'm not too I'm actually okay with that, honestly. So mission progress will only start to accumulate after the update. So thank you for understanding. So they basically had said, hey, we did adjust this, but none of the stuff that you did prior to is going to be retroactive. You're going to have to go in there and do 15 battles, which 15 battles will be accessible. Some people might have to wait a day for the Fractal Vice to reset, which everybody will be okay if they have to wait a day. It is what it is. They did make the adjustment. So at least now it is not relying upon you having to clear it. You will just have to go in there and just kind of run around and do stuff. All right. So what they also have adjusted, which is going to make things slightly better, is they've adjusted the battle tempo. So they reduced the wait time for multiple character cutscenes to improve the flow of chain skills, reduced the loading time for entering the exploration screen after battles, and the following items have been added to, in the visual effects / special effects section, which can be found in the options / battle. So hit stop intensity, which is basically you can have where players can choose between normal / weak to adjust the temporary stoppage time when an attack hits during battle. The after aforementioned settings will not affect the display when enemies attack hits. Now you also have the break camo effect. You can now toggle this as well. And the break camo effect on or off for break effects. This is actually something that, like, for some people that maybe might experience some motion sickness and things of that nature, or just don't want that nuance of being able to see that all the time, you can toggle that on and off. Chain skill effects can now also be toggled on and off as well. And then chain reaction time. So you can now either adjust the chain reaction time to standard or short to change the timing of the chain skill execution after break is inflicted. In short, if short is selected, the time for players to execute a chain skill will be reduced by half. With this change, players can choose to not trigger chain skills more flexibly. So this is something that is kind of nice, because if you already know you want to do a chain skill, you're going to usually be ready to hit that button. But in some cases, I might not want to, and there's like this long window of slow, like, matrix, and I have to basically wait until that's done in order to not use my chain skill. So they basically have made it to where that's much more fluid. So if you're going to use it, you have that little window. If you're not, then that window's not there. And you can change it to go more towards your playstyle preference. So if you know you're not chaining like that, you can turn it off. If you know you're going to be chaining, you can just keep it as is, right? So very, very simple. Now, another thing that they also have adjusted, which I actually think is pretty, worth mentioning, especially for those that have been struggling with it. The debuff that lowers movement speed inflicted by Shark has been removed. So that's actually a pretty big debuff to remove from the fight. Do I feel like the fight was doable even if you had it on? Yeah, I mean, to be honest. But I mean, they removed it, so there's that. The campaign buff characters will now be displayed as an event, which is nice. So you at least now know from event to event who's being buffed. Potential of pickup characters can now be confirmed in the synchro screen. They basically have as well adjusted the gamepad controller key allocations for the Verity Orb selection screen. And then on top of that, details regarding the Zero Sensei missions, attack mission and defense mission have been updated. And then they also updated certain city challenge text. So that's basically what we got as far as our other adjustments. I think some of the issues that some people were having as well have been adjusted. So I'll have this all linked down below so you guys can see this. But yeah, guys, this is actually a pretty solid update. As we know, I think on the 5th, which actually might be tomorrow, we should possibly be seeing some stuff coming with the XB. I might be a day off. But either way, I'm actually really excited. I hope you guys' summons have gone well. Let me know what you guys got so far. I know you guys went and ripped summons. I ripped some stuff, but I'm saving that for some content. So you guys will see that as we go. But nonetheless, man, hope you guys are having an amazing day. I might actually see you guys later on today. I might actually stream today. Yeah, we might stream. So of course, check me out, twitch.tv/Zoxaskun. And of course, here on the channel, make sure you guys like and subscribe and come through to the Discord, man. It's growing. Almost at 700 people in there. It's kind of crazy. But either way, man, you guys stay blessed. I'll catch you guys in the next one.